People say that your life starts to move faster when you get older. And I feel like while this might be true, I think the reason why is because we get more settled into that routine of our daily lives. And I feel like we get more content with what we have around us. Like as a kid, I felt like my life was moving by in slow motion. And I think most of that was because I was learning a lot about the world around me. I was figuring things out by myself for the first time. And I feel like whenever it's the first time that you're doing something, it feels way slower than it is, 10 times down the road. So for me, the first time I went to college, like the first week, I hung out with probably the most people I had ever hung out with. Like I think that the amount of people or the number of people that I hung out with in college that first week, it was more than like the number of people that I hung out with in all 4 years of high school combined, probably. Granted, I did have COVID like in ninth and 10th grade, but still, because I did so many different things there that I didn't normally do in my life, I think that's why college felt more vivid to me in that first month. Like that entire first block, I was like, my life is moving in slow motion. I check the news, I'm like, what the hell is going on in the world anymore? I don't even be looking at that anymore in the first month because I'm like, I'm so into what I was doing at college because we get introduced to new things all the time, right? Humans kind of, it's like economics. Humans, I don't remember what the name of the rule is, but it's like law of decreasing marginal benefit or something like that. Like we are naturally inclined to get less benefit or utility out of doing the same things over and over again. If you've ever tried something new, whether it be an interesting experience or maybe even trying a new food, like it always feels like doing that, having that process of doing something new is what feels like it takes a long time. And I don't really know how to describe that. I feel like that's a phenomenon or something's got to be researched in the future, but that's just something I'm noting right now. So now I kind of wonder, how can I make life for myself less boring or move slower in the future, right? I want to enjoy my life. I don't want it to be like a slideshow. I want to make it vivid like a movie. I want to enjoy as much as I can of it. I feel like that's, for me right now, that's kind of like my meaning or purpose of life so far. And in order to make my life vivid like a movie is, I feel like I want to be chasing something that doesn't ever leave me satisfied. And that's a lot easier said than done. I think right now what I've thought of is that learning is pretty nearly infinite. Like you could be learning for a really long time. It's a very long progression and it seems never ending. And I feel like learning things and really creating things as well is what gives you that experience of something new. Like with consuming things, I guess like TV, you get kind of bored after watching 5 to 10 Netflix shows. Like I watch Squid Game, okay, cool. I'm not about to watch like Gossip Girl and then Breaking Bad and then Better Call Saul and then like, okay, once you get past like those first 5 or 10, like everything else pretty much seems the same. It kind of all falls into background noise. And the same can be said of Reels or TikTok or any kind of content that you consume passively. It kind of all goes in one ear and out the other after a certain point. I think for me, this was like video games too. I feel like this year I really stopped enjoying video games because I realized it's really the same repetitive stuff over and over again. I feel like I wasn't getting anything new anymore from that experience. So I'm like, I might as well move on. It's not as fun playing CSGO anymore. It's not as fun playing Clash Royale anymore. I'd rather do something different. So I think this kind of comes down to how society is set up, and I guess in the USA at least, where consuming things is a pretty big part of our daily lives. Like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. Like, it's necessary for us to survive, right? But it's gotten to the point where a lot of people really fall into the habit of just consuming more and more and more. And not just consuming, but consuming passively. Like, they're not really thinking about what they're taking in. And I feel like this kind of routine is the routine that I don't want to fall into. It doesn't feel dynamic. It doesn't feel like I'm doing something new. Like, I could just turn on the TV, watch it for 3 hours and forget fuck all that happened that entire 3 hour session. Like, there goes my time, right? And I think in order to make life interesting, yes, you can dilly dally, waste your time a little bit, but you want to make every moment really feel more precious. And with that, I think creating your own things, or building something yourself, doing something like a hobby, and really working on building something is where I'm at right now, and where I think is the next best thing that I could be doing to make my life more interesting and make it move slower. And the reason why I feel like building and creating things makes your time go by slower is because you're using your brain actively. You're not really shutting it off. And when you let those thoughts come in, when you let your flow state work, I guess, for example, you start to, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a very interesting state where you're just so invested in what you're doing, and it feels way less like a routine because you always have to be using your mind to switch up quickly or think about something else rather than knowing what's expected of you. Like, it's not predictable when you're creating something new or building something from the ground up, but it is predictable when you're watching Squid Game, for example, and you know how the ending's going to happen. I'm not saying watching Squid Game is bad. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed watching Squid Game, but I think consuming this type of content should be something that's done more in moderation. That's a standard that I try and keep myself up to, because I feel like I can consume a little bit, but I don't want to be consuming so much where I kind of just fade from the world around me. So that's my quick little yap sesh about what I think life is right now and what I think the meaning of it is for myself right now. So I hope you enjoyed. And again, I feel like life can be made a lot more interesting, and it's just something that you have to be looking for all the time. You don't ever really want to get satisfied, because humans, we don't ever get satisfied with what we do. It's always about chasing that next best thing. And I think finding the love in the climb and in the journey rather than in that end result or the destination is really what makes life more interesting for me. So with that, I will see you guys later. Good night. Peace out.